there everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a prediction video for the 2026 Monster Jam season, where I'll do like a prediction of what I want to see for the lineups for all the tours, as well as tour schedules, as well as other side stuff that I want to see Monster Jam do next year in 2026. Now, last year I did not make a video for 2025 because of the fact that I was talking with people on Instagram, and I kind of had some sneak peek previews, and some people were maybe leaking some stuff about some of the schedules to me, so I couldn't make a prediction video because then that'd make me look stupid because I already knew what the lineup already was. Even though some of the stuff that I was told wasn't fully true, there was some stuff that was gotten wrong. But this year I'm deciding I wanted to make another one of these videos here for you guys, since I've done this before with predictions for the 2022 season, 2023, and 2024. So here we are. Here's going to be my stuff that I want to predict here for 2026. Starting with our first tour, Arena Championship Series West, which will feature a lineup of Matt Cody and Gravedigger, Angelina Knock and Megalodon, Cody Saucier and Dragon, MJ Solorio and El Toro Loco, Preston Collins and Monster My Rottweiler, Alex Barton and Earthshaker, Devin Winfield and Velociraptor, and Tim Hall Jr. and Jurassic Attack. Now, unlike with past years when I've done the predictions for the tours, this year I'm trying to do it a bit more realistically. I remember in years past I've tried to do expanded stadium lineups. I've done some interesting driver pairings, or I do randomly generated tours where we'd have maybe East Coast independents from the East Coast come and compete on the West Coast, and and a bunch of other stuff that was a bit more unrealistic, or having a tour that had no female driver on it. So I decided I wanted to be a bit more realistic this year with my predictions, and just a pretty solid lineup here for Arena Championship Series West. Now, the main reason why I did not pick Weston Anderson to be back on this tour is, I loved Weston on Arena West this year. I love seeing Weston go out and compete on some of those bigger floors. Like, some of his freestyle runs from Tacoma and Fargo were absolutely off the hook. But the reason why I didn't put him on this tour is simply because I wanted to give Devin Winfield a chance to win this tour. And I think if this was an actual tour on Arena Series West next year, I think Devin Winfield would actually have a good chance to actually win the tour if this was a lineup. So that is why I picked that. And, I want to see Matt Cody do a full-time West Coast tour, as Matt Cody got to compete part-time on Arena West in 2024 to fill in for Brandon Vincent, who had left. So that'd be really cool. I'd also really love to see Angelina get a shot at do some of the West Coast shows and do some of those bigger arena floors. I want to see Cody back on the West Coast tours. Cody's a really good competitor, and he did really good on the Arena West tour this year. This year, in my opinion, is one of Cody's better seasons he's had in arenas ever since 2022. And so we want to see him back on this tour. We want to see MJ Solorio back on this tour as well. He competed on this tour on his rookie season back in 2024. And we'd love to see him back, as MJ's really improved, and he's really stepped it up as a driver. As of recently this year, he's gotten way better behind the wheel, especially in the skills and freestyle competitions, where he's been doing more combination moves. He's able to walk it on the nose longer, and he's also been incorporating more backflips in his freestyle run, and he's really, really improved himself as a driver. So I want to see him compete on some of these bigger arena floors and hopefully have a strong performance. Preston Collins, I'm putting him on this tour to replace Berto Trevino, as Berto announced almost a month ago that he was going to step away from Team Throttle Monster, due to some of the family stuff, and he doesn't have time to be full-time on the road, so he decided to change roles and go back to being an official, how he had originally started his career. And Preston Collins has been doing some shows here and there as of recently, within this past month, competing on the Freestyle Mania series and even doing a stop in Edmonton. So we'd love to see him get a full-time shot on a tour next year. Then we have Alex Barden in Earthshaker. Hopefully, Alex Barden can come back next year here on Arena Series West and actually compete full time on the season and not get injured in the second stop like what happened to him this year. So we hope Alex Barden can make his return and have a good season next year. We have Devin Winfield, runner-up, second place. We want him back on this tour and hopefully he can get a shot to actually win it. And then we have Tim Hall Jr. in Jurassic Attack, another great competitor who did really great on this tour this year, and we'd love to see him back. Now, as for the schedule on this tour, it's a pretty stacked schedule here, and this year, for this tour, I decided to try to keep it since it is called an Arena West tour, so we try to keep most stops on the West Coast, and we tried to have as few East Coast stops as possible. I do know there are some shows that are more on the East Coast on this lineup, such as in Alabama, and even some shows in more of the Central/Midwest of America in Ohio, like for Columbus. But anyway, my schedule prediction, I want to see January 2nd through 4th. They go to Salt Lake City, Utah at the Delta Center to kick off the season. I remember Salt Lake City was the first show of first quarter last year, so we'd love to see it be the first show again this year, and then we end off first quarter in Salt Lake City, but at the stadium at Rice-Eccles for World Finals. It's a full circle moment, so we want to see that happen again. January 9th through 11th, they can go to Tacoma, Washington at the Tacoma Dome. January 16th through 18th, they do Reno, Nevada at Reno Sparks Livestock Event Center. January 23rd to 25th, they can go to Sacramento, California at the Golden One Center. January 31st, they're in Fargo, North Dakota at the Fargo Dome. February 6th through 8th, they're in Denver, Colorado at the Ball Arena. February 14th through 15th, they're in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma at the Paycom Center. February 21st through 22nd, they would be in Wichita, Kansas at the Intrust Bank Arena. February 27th through March 1st, Portland, Oregon at the Moda Center. March 6th through 8th, Fresno, California at the Save Mart Center. March 14th through 15th, Oakland, California at the Oakland Arena. March 20th through 22nd, Albuquerque, New Mexico at the Tingley Coliseum. March 27th through 29th, Tucson, Arizona at the Tucson Arena. April 4th through 5th, St. Paul, Minnesota at the XL Energy Center. April 10th through 12th, Vancouver, British Columbia at the Pacific Coliseum. April 17th through 19th, Columbus, Ohio at the Scotchenstein Center. April 24th through 26th, Huntsville, Alabama at the Von Braun Center Props Arena. May 1st through 3rd, Nampa, Idaho at the Ford Idaho Center. May 9th through 10th, Cincinnati, Ohio at the Heritage Bank Center. May 15th through 17th, Colorado Springs, Colorado at the Broadmoor World Arena for the finale stop on the tour. This tour schedule right here is very busy, and they have a lot of shows. And also, kind of like how we saw in 2023 and in 2025, with the World Finals being in July, they didn't run any shows for the points series in June, which is why we are kind of like doing how we did it these past years, where we cut it off at around this time of year, in mid-May is when we finished off the season. But yeah, it's a really cool schedule. Got a lot of returning stops, even some new stops I decided to add onto the schedule, like St. Paul, Minnesota, Oakland, California, Nampa, and Vancouver. Adding new stops this tour, or returning stops, as I should say, to the Arena West Tour. I think it's a really solid schedule and would provide a lot of action, and hopefully we can see this schedule come to life. Alright, next up is Stadium Championship Series Red. Now, Stadium Series Red, I decided to go back to wanting, instead of naming the tours by the coast that they're on, I want to see them do it by the track color instead. Like from 2020 all the way through 2023, it was by the tour name was based on the color of the track. And then these past years, 2024 and 2025, it's been based off of the coast of the United States. And something I did have a critique with it is 2024, and it kind of didn't make sense with the schedule. Most of the stops that they did, and like Stadium Tour West, they had pretty much every single one of their stops on the West Coast, except for Birmingham. And then I guess you can say Detroit's almost on the East Coast, but it's kind of Midwest, somewhere in the middle. So, but really Birmingham was the main big East Coast stop on that whole Stadium West tour, not including some of the non-for-point arena events where they were on the East Coast, like in Hampton, Virginia. Then Stadium Tour East, they stuck primarily to the East Coast the entire time. The most farthest out west they went was for Denver and the Texas shows, being San Antonio and Houston. So that tour schedule made sense. But then this year, the coast schedule didn't really make sense. Like Stadium Tour West visited Miami, Tampa, and Atlanta. All stops on the East Coast. That didn't really make sense. It's called a West Coast tour, but yet they're visiting the East Coast. And then for Stadium Tour East, they went to like Anaheim and San Diego, which is on the West Coast, so it didn't really make sense. So in order to make more sense, we're going to decide that I wanted to see them change the tour name back to color of the track and not the coast that they're competing on. But anyway, as far as the lineup that we have Adam Anderson and Gravedigger, Caleb Blood and Sparkle Smash, Tristan England and JCB Digatron, Bari Musauer and Zombie, Armando Castro and El Toro Loco, Camden Murphy and Classroom Crusher, Kevin Crocker and Megalodon, Jim Kohler and Avenger, Chris Kohler and Mayhem, Joe Foley and Axe, Mike Christensen and Vendetta, and Dalton Widener and Shell Shocked. Alright, so basically this lineup is practically a repeat of Stadium Championship Series East from last year, with the only difference being we take out Ryan Anderson, Bryce Kenny, we actually take out Tyler Menninga, Cynthia Gauthier, and Colt Stevens, and we replace them with Adam, Kayla, and Tristan. So I think it's a really solid tour lineup here. We have the reigning skills champion in this lineup, which is really cool to see. And we got the reigning Stadium West champion Tristan England. He can be on this tour, and we also got Bari Musauer, the runner-up from last year, who would hope to do really good. Here again, we have Adam Anderson on another red track tour, and we have Team Scream also on this tour as well. I hope that we can't wait to see the return from Jim Kohler and Joe Foley, as they had amazing seasons this year, and we hope we can see them back it up with another great season. Camden Murphy's back in Classroom Crusher, and we're very excited to see this truck back yet again. Camden had a great debut season in it, and so we cannot wait to see him back on the tour. And we have Caleb Blood and Sparkle Smash, hoping to have a better season, and Adam Anderson, who's also looking to have a better season as well. And then one of the bigger talking points about this tour will mark the first quarter debut of Shell Shocked, as we cannot wait to see this truck in Monster Jam. I cannot wait to see Dalton Widener drive Shell Shocked in Monster Jam. I got to see this truck unveiled at World Finals, and this truck is sick and is incredibly cool. It's one of my favorite Team Throttle Monster identities. I really love the cool concept of the snapping turtle, and I can't wait to see Dalton Widener run it in Monster Jam next year on a stadium tour, hopefully. And I hope he can have a better season where he has less truck problems. And we already know this truck is competing in quite a few Quarter 2 shows on the stadium level, mainly in St. Louis, Arlington, and Houston. So, we can't wait to see Dalton Widener drive Shell Shocked in Monster Jam yet again. Or getting to see him drive Shell Shocked in Monster Jam, as I cannot wait to see him make its debut. I've seen it drive a few times on the independent circuit, such as in Lamar, Missouri, but we want to see it full time here in Monster Jam. And man, this is a really cool truck, and I cannot wait to see more of it. Alright, as far as the schedule for this tour, January 2nd through 3rd, they're going to be in San Francisco, California at Oracle Park. January 9th through 10th, they're in San Diego, California at Snapdragon Stadium. January 16th through 17th, they're in Anaheim, California at Angel Stadium. January 23rd, they're in Houston, Texas at NRG Stadium. January 30th, they're in Charlotte, North Carolina at Bank of America Stadium. February 7th, they're in Washington, D.C. at Northwest Stadium. February 14th through 15th, they're in Anaheim, California at Angel Stadium. February 21st, they're in Green Bay, Wisconsin at Lambeau Field. February 28th through March 1st, they're in Atlanta, Georgia at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. March 7th, they're in Arlington, Texas at AT&T Stadium. March 14th, they're in Fort Worth, Texas at Texas Motor Speedway. April 4th, they're in Seattle, Washington at Lumen Field. April 11th through 12th, they're in Atlanta, Georgia at Echo Park Speedway. April 18th, they're in Foxborough, Massachusetts at Gillette Stadium. April 25th, they're in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at Lincoln Financial Field. May 2nd, they're in Denver, Colorado at Empower Field at Mile High. And then May 16th, they're going to be in Daytona, Florida, and Daytona Motor Speedway to wrap up the tour. Now, this is a really interesting tour schedule. We have a lot of returning stadiums from last year's tours, like San Diego, Anaheim, Houston, Arlington, Seattle, Foxborough, Philadelphia, Denver. They're all back, and Denver's back on the East Coast tour for this year, and same with Arlington as well, making a return to the East Coast tour. And then we also have a bunch of brand new stadiums, or we have even a returning stadium on this list, or 2 returning stadiums. That being San Francisco. I really want San Francisco back. I really want to see Monstrum do another show in San Francisco, as I really love the show there that they did in 2024. As in my opinion, San Francisco 2024 was one of the best. It was one of the best shows on the Stadium Tour West that year. Is one of my favorite Stadium West shows, so I really want to see it make a return. And in Atlanta, Georgia, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I really want to see that stadium make a return for the first time since 2020. We'd love to see that stadium make a comeback here in Monster Jam and do another event there. And then we also got something also pretty cool on this tour. We got a bunch of brand new stadiums on this tour as well. I would love to see a stadium show in North Carolina. I don't even know if Monstrum's had a stadium show in North Carolina before, but if they did, it must have been years and years ago. And we want to see them make a comeback to North Carolina. I think it'd be really cool. I mean, it is the backyard of Gravediggers, so it would be really cool to see Charlotte, North Carolina on a tour. Have a stadium show in Charlotte, North Carolina. I really want to see it. That's one of the stadiums that we need to see. That's one of the tours we need to see have a stadium for it. So we need to see that. And Washington D.C. I mean, we definitely would. I mean, who wouldn't want a Monster Jam show at the nation's capital, and a stadium show at the nation's capital? I know we have the arena show there, but we want to see a stadium show at the nation's capital. I mean, monster trucks. I mean, how much more American could that be than Monster Jam in Washington D.C.? And that'd be really cool. And hey, who knows? Maybe even the president can make it out to the show. Then we got Green Bay, Wisconsin. I mean, I really want to see Monster Jam do a stadium show in Wisconsin as well. That'd be really cool. And then there's no other new stadiums on here. But then we also have 3 different Speedway shows on the schedule. We have, of course, the returning Atlanta, with now the renamed Echo Park Speedway. Hey, so, we want to see Monster Jam, make their return to Atlanta. And this year's shows weren't as good as what we could have seen from years, compared to what we've seen in years past. So you really want to see a good show out there in Atlanta. And I'd also love to see Team Scream and Team Throttle Monster make their return to Atlanta for the first time since 2022. That would be really cool. And of course, we got Kayla Blood, who won the Extreme Air of the Year this year from Atlanta. So we'd love to see her back there. Sad I didn't put Bryce Kenny on this lineup, as he won't be competing in Atlanta. But oh well. But it's a pretty good lineup that I have for Atlanta. Of course, we want to see Camden Murphy back out there as well in Atlanta. And also see the Atlanta debut for Armando Castro in El Toro Loco. That'd be really cool. Then we also got 2 new speedways I think they should visit, which are Daytona Motor Speedway and the Texas Motor Speedway. Daytona is a really good one. I think that'd be a really cool show to do out at that speedway. It's a pretty big floor. I've seen people build tracks in Daytona on rigs of rods, and especially mainly RRMJL. So I think that'd be a really cool stop for Monster Jam to do that. And Texas Motor Speedway. I mean, Texas Motor Speedway is also a really cool and iconic speedway, and I think Monster Jam should definitely do an event there. And now they wrap this a pretty good schedule. Got lots of new stops on here. So I think this would be a really interesting schedule, and I'd really love to see this one come to life. Next up, we have Arena Championship Series East, which will feature the lineup of Kristen Anderson and Gravedigger, Tony Oaks and Thunder Roars, Fernando Martinez and El Toro Loco, Logan Ashline and Monster Dalmatian, Michaela Telechka in Megalodon, Brandon Telechka in Living on the Edge, Triton Robbins in Crazy Train, and Montana Robbins in Plane Crazy. Now, with this Arena East lineup, it is very similar to last year. I mean, we do have a returning Tony Oaks and Kristen Anderson, Michaela Telechka, and Brandon Telechka. So half the lineup is the same, and 5 out of the 8 trucks from last year's Arena East are returning. Those being Gravedigger, Thunder Roars, El Toro Loco, Monster Dalmatian, and Megalodon, all making their return. And we even got Brandon Telechka out and with Living on the Edge this time around as we retired Just Get Her Done 2 at World Finals, and it is now Living on the Edge. So we want to see Living on the Edge make a debut season here in Mostrom. You got to see it run back in St. Paul, Minnesota. So and it turned out to be a really good debut. So we want to see Brandon Telechka back on the East Coast Tour. We're hoping to have another great season, and we really want to see Michaela Telechka return as well. And we also do have the Robbins brothers on this East Coast Tour this time around instead of the Hall brothers. There is a rumor or a leak that went out there. If you guys saw the Zona Monsters Monster Jam World Finals Pit Party vlog, if you haven't seen that video, definitely go watch it. It is absolute cinema. It's a really cool vlog. Zona Monsters did a good job with that video. So if you haven't seen it, go check that out. But when Zona Monsters were recording that vlog, it was actually leaked, and one of the Robbins brothers did say that they were planning on competing on Arena East next year. So we'll see if that happens, and we hope we can see that happen out there, and that'll give them some new stops to visit and give them new competitors to compete against. We also want Logan Ashline and Monster Dalmatian. As we'll see later, want Blake Granger to switch up his ride from Monster Dalmatian from last year. And, we needed somebody to drive Monster Dalmatian. And I've really been wanting to see Logan Ashline actually compete on a full-time arena tour. I really want to see that happen, so I'm hoping 2026 will be her year where she can finally get a chance to drive domestically full-time. And she's driven Monster Dalmatian before and has had a lot of success in that truck. I remember she drove it back and got 2 freestyle wins last year in quarter 2, in Pensacola show 3, and in Savannah show 5. So we want to see Logan Ashline make a full-time season debut behind the wheel of Monster Dalmatian in next year, and she can compete full-time on a tour, taking over the vacant spot from Blake Granger. That we'll see where he'll be at later on. But I think it's a really cool tour. Going to be very competitive. Obviously, the biggest competitors to look out for if this were to become a real tour would definitely be Kristen, Tony, Fernando, Brandon, and Triton Robbins. They're all going to be they're going to be up there at the top of the leaderboard. Those are going to be your top 5. And, definitely I would not count out Montana Robbins as well, as I think next year is really going to go big, and he's really going to have a great season again next year. So, we're hoping he can do good. And, never count out Michaela Telechka and Logan Ashline. They can maybe also be sneaky in the competition as well and maybe bring home some wins. I can definitely see Michaela Telechka, doing good and maybe having some good skills runs, or maybe even making it deep into the racing bracket, as we saw her get a racing win earlier on the season in Providence. And I wouldn't be surprised if Logan Ashline also picked up a freestyle win as well, as she can definitely have a good freestyle run in there, so you can just get lucky enough and have a crazy wow moment as well. It's going to be a really competitive tour, and I really hope we can see this come to life next year. Next up is the schedule for Arena East, and this is definitely without a doubt the biggest schedule we have yet. As January 3rd through 4th, they'll kick off the season in Greenville, South Carolina at the Bond Secures Wellness Arena. January 10th through 11th, they can be in Greensboro, North Carolina at the Greensboro Coliseum. January 16th, Baltimore, Maryland at CFG Bank Arena. January 24th to 25th at Washington, D.C. at the Capital One Arena. January 30th through February 1st, Providence, Rhode Island at Amica Mutual Pavilion. February 6th through 8th, Milwaukee, Wisconsin at Pfizer Forum. February 13th through 15th, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the PPG Paints Arena. February 20th through 22nd, Allentown, Pennsylvania at the PPL Center. March 6th through 8th, Hidalgo, Texas at the Payne Arena. March 14th through 15th, Tupelo, Mississippi, at Camden's Bank Arena. March 21st through 22nd, Biloxi, Mississippi, Mississippi Coast Coliseum. March 27th through 29th, Macon, Georgia, at the Macon Coliseum. April 3rd through 5th, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, at the Mohegan Arena. April 11th through 12th, Des Moines, Iowa, at the Wells Fargo Arena. I believe that's the arena there. I forgot to write it down. Oops. April 18th through 19th, Charlotte, North Carolina, at the Spectrum Center. April 25th through 26th, Raleigh, North Carolina, at the Lenovo Center. May 1st through 3rd, North Charleston, North Carolina, at the North Charleston Coliseum. May 9th through 10th, Manchester, New Hampshire, at the SNHU Arena. May 16th through 17th, Pensacola, Florida, at the Pensacola Bay Center. And then we have June 6th through 7th, Austin, Texas, at the Moody Center. And then lastly, for the finale of the tour, we have June 19th to 21st at Athens, Georgia, at the Atkins Ford Arena. Now, with this tour, we have a bunch of returning stops from the Arena East tour from last year, and then we even have some new stops that I decided to add in here, such as North Charleston, Manchester, and Milwaukee, which all come from the Central and West tours from last season, respectively. And I also added something in here that I really want to see. I kind of want to see next year the removal of non-for-points arena events. I want to see every single arena event that they do for all the tours to be 4 points. I don't want any non-for-points shows next year, so that's why. I want the finale of this tour to be in Athens, and this will be the final tour to wrap up before the World Finals. And Athens actually is 4 points. So I'd really love to see that. And we also have got some other non-for-point stops that were there last year that I want to see be counted 4 points this year, such as Austin, Macon, and Tupelo. I really want to see those be count for the point series and be a part of the tour. And we got all the Arena East stops from last year, most of them making their return. It's a really cool schedule, probably the busiest schedule as well, and we hope we can see it come to life next year. Next up, we have Stadium Championship Series Blue. And for this lineup, we have Tyler Menninga and Gravedigger, Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger, Bryce Kenny in the Tech Deck Rec Deck. We have Cynthia Gauthier and Lucas Stabilizer, Blake Granger and Megalodon, Colt Stevens and Thunder Roris, Jamie Garner and El Toro Loco, Zach Garner and Wildside, Cole Vennard and Black Pearl, Matt Pagliarulo and Jester, Nick Pagliarulo and Kraken, and Michael Pagliarulo and Excalibur. This tour is really cool. It's practically almost remaining the same from Stadium Series West from last year, but the main difference is we get rid of Adam Anderson, Caleb Blood, Tristan England, and Todd LeDuc, and replacing them with Tyler Menninga, Cynthia Gauthier, Blake Granger, and Colt Stevens. And you'll see the reason why I picked this lineup the way I picked it for the schedule that we'll see. But I think this would be a really cool tour, because I really want to see Tyler and Ryan back on a tour. I mean, the sibling tour that we had the past 2 years was really cool, but I really want to see another Tyler versus Ryan tour. I think that would be incredibly cool. This lineup also has our reigning high jump and freestyle champions on this tour with Ryan and Blake Granger. And I want to see Blake Granger make the shift from Monster Dalmatian to Megalodon, and he can become the full-time Megalodon driver on the Stadium Series, on the Stadium level. And we got the returning independents from Stadium West last year, like we have Jamie Garner, the whole Team Overboard team, and the whole Team Tomfoolery. And, I'm hoping Tomfoolery can have another good season this year. Of course, we had Michael burned it down this year and had an amazing year this year. I'm hoping next year we can see a little bit better performance from Matt and Nick as well. And, we also can't wait to see the Overboard team. The Team Overboard did really good last year. Zach absolutely killed it on Stadium West. I'm hoping Zach can have another good performance on a tour again next year, but maybe this time around he can perform a bit better by hopefully doing better in racing and doing a bit better in skills. He's been on point in freestyle, but we really want to see him do good in racing and in freestyle and racing and skills as well. I hope to see Jamie Garner have another great season, and we hope Cole Bernard can have another strong, consistent season. That can even be better than this year. Bryce Kenny was off the hooks last year, as this year's probably been his best season ever in Monster Jam, so we want to see him have another good season yet again here in the in Rec Deck. Cynthia Gauthier, it's her second year back after a maternity leave in 2024, so we're expecting Cynthia to be back on her A game, and she's going to be ready to absolutely tear it up here for all the fans here in next year's full tour. Colt Stevens also had a great year on on Stadium East this year, especially with his crazy moments like from Birmingham with that crazy sidewall save. So we really want to see Colt have another great season next year. And we have Blake Granger and Megalodon. He is the two-time series champion, winning International Tour and the International Tour and Arena East. So we really want to see him bumped up to stadiums. I mean, it probably will happen because he did win a world championship this year, so he most likely will be bumped up into the stadium level on a stadium tour. So you know, we're very excited to see that, and we can't wait to see what Blake has, as we really want to see him. You know, we can't wait to unleash him into a domestic stadium tour, and something that he belongs to be in. And we cannot wait to watch him tear it up there, as I think Blake Granger is going to be definitely one to watch out here on the series, and he could definitely be a dark horse to possibly play spoilers to Ryan and Tyler, who are expected to be the top two on this series. I mean, if I were to make a prediction right now for what I think the top 5 will be on this tour, or really the top 6, it's definitely the top 6 are definitely going to be Tyler, Ryan, Bryce, Blake, Colt, and Zach Gardner. Those are going to be probably the top 6 on the tour. If this tour were to happen, and I really hope it does. It's a really good lineup, and let's go ahead and see why I picked the lineup I picked for the schedule here on the tour. So we'll kick off the season January 3rd through 4th in San Antonio, Texas at the Alamo Dome. January 10th through 11th, they're going to be in Anaheim, California at Angel Stadium. January 17th through 18th, and they're going to be in San Diego, California at Snapdragon Stadium. January 24th through 25th, they're going to be in St. Louis, Missouri at the Dome at America Center. January 31st to February 1st, they'll be in Miami, Florida at Lone Depot Park. February 7th through 8th, they'll be in Tampa, Florida at Raymond James Stadium. February 14th to 15th, they'll be in Houston, Texas at NRG Stadium. February 21st to 22nd, they'll be in Minneapolis, Minnesota at the US Bank Stadium. February 28th through March 1st, they'll be in El Paso, Texas at the UTEP Sun Bowl. March 7th, they'll be in Orlando, Florida at Camping World Stadium. March 14th to 15th, they'll be in Detroit, Michigan at Ford Field. March 21st through 22nd, they'll be in Indianapolis, Indiana at Lucas Oil Stadium. March 28th, they'll be in Birmingham, Alabama at Protective Stadium. April 4th, they'll be in New Orleans, Louisiana at the Caesars Superdome. April 18th, they'll be in Glendale, Arizona at State Farm Stadium. May 2nd, they'll be in East Rutherford, New Jersey at MetLife Stadium. May 9th, they'll be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at Acrisure Stadium. And May 16th will be the finale of the tour, where we'll wrap it up in Inglewood, California at SoFi Stadium. Now, there's a very strategic reason why I picked this tour lineup, why I saved some of the best stadiums to be on this incredible lineup, as out of all the lineups I made predictions for, this one right here is probably my favorite out of all of them, as, you know, the reason why I picked some of these stops, first off, San Antonio. There's actually a core reason why I picked each and every single one of these stops the way I picked it. First up with San Antonio. I mean, San Antonio, if you guys haven't noticed a pattern, but San Antonio has been known to be a spot where we kick off a lot of our points series. Like in 2019, that's where we kicked off Stadium Tour 3. But then as a pattern I've kind of been noticing ever since Motion has made their return to full-time points series after the pandemic or post-COVID, is that I've noticed that San Antonio has been a kickoff spot every other year. I remember San Antonio was a kickoff spot for Stadium Tour Red in 2022. 2024, they kicked off their season there as well for Stadium Tour East. So I'm going to see a pattern that every other year San Antonio is a kickoff spot for a tour. So that's why I have San Antonio predicted as the first stop on the tour. And then we added Anaheim on here. Something I did like about Anaheim this year, so they made their return to having both Stadium Tours compete in Anaheim. Stadium Tour West got 4 shows there, and Stadium Tour East got 2. And I'm hoping the pattern doesn't continue where only one Stadium Tour gets Anaheim. As a pattern, I kind of did notice that Stadium Tour in 2022, Stadium Tour Yellow got all 6 Anaheim shows. Then in 2023, they split the Anaheim shows between both tours. Stadium Tour Blue got 4 shows, while Stadium Tour Red got 2. And then 2024, they only one tour got Anaheim, that being Stadium Tour West for all 6 shows. And then this year, Stadium Tour West got 4 shows, while Stadium Tour East got 2. So I'm hoping we don't see the pattern repeat itself again, where we see only one tour get Anaheim this year in 2026. Hopefully both tours can get it, because, I mean, I kind of felt bad for the Anaheim fans in 2022 and 2024, because it definitely may get boring seeing the same tour there for 6 shows. So we want to see a variety in the tours there, and the same can be said for San Antonio and Houston. I really want them to get a variety in the tours as well. San Diego, ever since, has not gotten really a variety where they've gotten to see more than just one stadium tour since 2020. When was the last time since San Diego in 2020 they got both Stadium Tour Green and Stadium Tour Yellow? So I'm hoping San Diego can get both tours this year, and Snapdragon Stadium can finally get both tours for the first time in history of that stadium. Hopefully they can get both stadium tours. I really want to see this tour make a return to St. Louis, mainly for the fact of Ryan Anderson is in the lineup, and Ryan Anderson has, he made his return to St. Louis this year for the first time since 2021, and, his performance wasn't as good as what we could have wanted it to, so, we're hoping to see Ryan Anderson back in St. Louis, Missouri again this year, so that's why I put it on this tour. And we also, it's also been a pretty big tradition in Q1 for Team Overboard and Team Tomfoolery to be competing in St. Louis. Team Overboard's been competing there consistently every single year since 2021. And then for the other stadium, and then for Tomfoolery, they've been competing there in Q1 every year since 2022. So those teams have probably grown some pretty big fan bases in that city. So I really want to see them keep going back into that to St. Louis every year in Q1. We have Miami as well. Miami has been, it's a pretty big spot for Tomfoolery, and we really want to see Tomfoolery Motorsports back in Miami yet again in 2026, as they always do really good there, have good performances. I mean, Nick Pagliarulo especially has always done good in Miami, from his crazy freestyle runs in 2023 to his crazy saves in the skills challenge in 2024 to his crazy moments in freestyle this year in 2025, and to his first backflip back in Miami 2020. Nick has always done something really crazy in Miami, so I really want to see him make a return there. And Matt Pagliarulo has also had some pretty good performances there throughout 2023, 2024, and 2025. And Michael Pagliarulo won his first stadium career freestyle win here back earlier this year, back in January. So we want to see Tomfoolery back in Miami yet again. Tampa, this is a pretty big dream Tampa lineup right here for modern day Malchian. This is a dream lineup for Tampa. And also, I'm kind of biased for this Tampa lineup, as for my friend Jackson Hughes, who I've taken to a few Malchian shows by now, if you guys haven't paid attention to my channel. But Jackson Hughes has now been to quite a few Monster Jam shows throughout 2023 and in 2024. Sadly, no Malchian for him this year because of stuff going on with hockey practice and his job that he's now doing at work. He hasn't been able to make it out to any shows this year. But if Malchian will return to Tampa next year, I really want this to be when Malchian returns to Tampa next year, this is the lineup I want to see happen. I really want to see Tyler Menninga and Bryce Kenny back in Tampa, as those are Jackson's favorite drivers. So I really want him to go there so we can see his favorite drivers. And Jackson Hughes, if you guys didn't know, is also partially Canadian. So that's why. And I really want him to meet Cynthia Gauthier again. So that's why I put Cynthia in this lineup. And I decided to put Blake in this lineup because we already have the other Megalodon driver for the Independence on Team Scream on the other lineup. So that's why I decided to put Blake Granger here. Also, we are due for Colt Stevens to compete in Tampa, as it looks like Thunder Roars has proudly competed in practically almost every single domestic stadium that we've been visiting in Modern Monster Jam. I think that truck has competed in every single stadium that we currently do domestically in the United States, and at least in modern day Monster Jam, except for Tampa. I mean, we've yet to see Colt Stevens. We've yet to see Thunder Roars compete in Raymond James Stadium, so that's why I really want to see Thunder Roars compete on this tour next year, just so we can see him in Tampa. And then for Ryan Anderson, Jackson Hughes, he sadly couldn't make it out of Tampa this year to see Ryan Anderson compete. So, I really want to see Jackson Hughes get a chance to see Ryan Anderson compete, as he's one of the best, and we really want to see and we really want Jackson Hughes to come out Tampa so that way he can see Ryan Anderson. And then as well, and we really want to see Ryan Anderson back in Tampa, as he always has great performances there, so we want to see him back. And then, of course, you got to have Team Overboard there, as Jamie Garner and his team has been competing there every single year in Q1 since 2020, consistently every single year since 2020. So we got to see them back at it. And of course, Tom Foolery as well. They've been competing since 2022 consistently there every single year. So we got to see that team back as well. It's practically home. It's probably a home show for them, and they always burn it down in Tampa. So we got to see. I really want to see Tom Foolery back in Tampa yet again this year. And then, Houston, as we talked about earlier, we really want to see both tours get Houston. And then we have Minneapolis. Of course, Team Tom Foolery and Team Overboard have been competing there practically every season since 2022. So, we got to see that tour make a return back to Minneapolis yet again. El Paso. The main reason I picked El Paso for this tour is because my buddy on Instagram, if you guys know him, Miguel Dueñas, or his username being Sparkle Smash Fan, also known as Miguel Dueñas. He's a huge Zach Garner fan, so we really want to see Zach Garner make a return to El Paso, so Miguel can get a chance to see him compete. So that's why I picked El Paso for this tour. We have Orlando on this tour as well. I want to see Orlando on this Stadium Blue tour because we really want to see. There's a lot of drivers who we want to see back in Orlando to compete again. We really want Cynthia Gauthier to be back in Orlando as well. I almost forgot that she competed there this year, but we want to see her back in Orlando. We want to see Colt Stevens back after their great performances in Orlando from this year. And we also really want to see Tyler Menninga back as well, especially after his great performance he's had there the past 2 years. We want Bryce Kenny to make his return there, as Bryce has had some pretty good moments in Orlando, so we really want to see him make his return there. And we also really want Ryan Anderson to compete there again, as he has not competed there since 2022. So we really want to see Ryan Anderson, son of a digger, back again competing in Orlando. And as for the independents, the main reason why I want to pick this tour for Orlando, so number one, we can see Cole Vinard back in Orlando because he was supposed to compete there in 2024, but sadly missed out due to injury. So we really want to see him back there as well. And we want Tom Foolery to compete in their hometown show. Tom Foolery did not get the chance to compete in Orlando this past year because it wasn't on their tour schedule. So we really want to see Tom Foolery compete there again. Matt Pagliarulo has always had some great performances in Orlando, so we really want to see him back at it there. And we also really want to see Michael Pagliarulo, as he's also had 2 great performances there, driving Kraken and Black Pearl from 2022 and 2024, respectively. And I felt as if he got a bit underscored in 2024, so we really want to see Michael come out and have a good time in Orlando, get a big score, and hopefully get a freestyle win. And we want Nick to actually have good luck in his home stadium event in Orlando. It seems like every single time Nick Pagliarulo has competed there, he's always just had bad luck. So, we really want that to change here for this weekend, and he can actually for 2026, and he can come back to Orlando and hopefully actually lay down and have a good performance in freestyle. And of course, we also want to see Zach Gardner back in Orlando, as he had a great performance there in the Halloween show in 2022. So we'd love to see him back in Orlando. Then we have Detroit, Michigan at Ford Field. I picked this one because I really want to see Tom Foolery return to Detroit yet again. So that's the main reason why I picked that for this tour. Indianapolis, I mainly picked just for the fact that we can see, because Cynthia Gauthier, Lucas Stabilizer, Indianapolis is the home of Lucas Oil, and they even have it as their sponsored stadium. So, of course, we got to see Lucas Stabilizer there for the 5th year in a row. And then Birmingham, Alabama, I picked that one mainly so that way we can see Tom Foolery and Team Overboard get to compete there for their first ever time, as that would be really cool. New Orleans, I mainly picked that just so we can see Ryan Anderson and Tom Foolery Motorsports make their return to New Orleans. I picked Glendale only for the fact that we want to see Ryan Anderson. Ryan Anderson loves competing in Glendale. He's been competing in Glendale in Q1 probably every single year since 2020. So we want to see Ryan Anderson back yet again in Q1, back in Glendale yet again. East Rutherford, I really want to see Ryan Anderson and Team Overboard and Team Tomfoolery make their return to East Rutherford. So that's why I picked them. And that's why I picked this tour to be in East Rutherford. And I also mainly wanted to pick this tour for East Rutherford, mainly for Cole Vennard, as Cole Vennard's first and only time he's ever competed in East Rutherford came back in 2023, where he actually blew a motor in intros and could not compete for the entire show, which was really unfortunate. So I really want to see him back, go back to East Rutherford and get redemption and actually compete in the show and not have truck problems. That's the main reason why I picked that. Pittsburgh, I almost forgot about it. Yeah, I should have put it on the other tour, but we decided I want to have Pittsburgh there. Pittsburgh can get a bit of a different lineup this year compared to last year. And then Inglewood, Ryan Anderson's competed at every single Inglewood show that we've done. He's the only driver who's competed at every single show we've done at SoFi Stadium for Monster Jam. So, of course, we want to see him back. And, of course, Inglewood, SoFi Stadium, it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful venue. And there's just no better way than to end off a tour than in Los Angeles, in Hollywood. So of course, we got to have Inglewood saved for the finale of the tour once again. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to Arena Central, as we have Wesley Anderson and Gravedigger, Brianna Mahan and Bailey Circuit, Jamie Sullivan and Sparkle Smash, Ashley Sanford and Megalodon, John Zimmer Sr. and Zombie, John Zimmer Jr. in Terminal Velocity, Brett Falvey in the Haymaker, and Kylie Kent in Frostbite. Alright, now for this tour in this lineup, first lap for what I picked, I wanted to give, Devin Winfield a bit of a chance to actually win his tour this year, so that's why I decided to put Wes Anderson back on the Central Tour. And there have been some fans who have said that Weston's best season came from 2024 on the Central Tour. So, we want to see him back on that tour yet again. And, it is kind of obvious now that I think that he's going to be competing with Brianna Mahan next season. As it seems like almost every single time Weston's been on a tour, he's always had Brianna Mahan right by his side. He's always been on a tour with Brianna Mahan, except for 2023 when Brianna Mahan was out due to maternity leave. So, of course, we got to have Brianna back on a tour with Weston Anderson yet again. And the two trucks in Gravedigger and Bailey Circuit can be trailer mates, as, we can already kind of see from this year here in Q2 that Weston and Brianna are kind of like Gravedigger and Bailey Circuit are trailer mates during Q2 as they're competing in every single show together. So, that makes sense that they're probably going to be on the same tour again. So we want to see them on the Central Tour yet again. Jamie Sullivan, she's been competing on the Central Tour every single season in her career, so if we can make it now 4 years in a row for her on Central Tour. I have Ashley Stanford and Megalodon. Now, I mainly picked Ashley for this tour because, I really want to see Ashley Stanford get a shot to do more shows on the East Coast, as Ashley Stanford hasn't really done that many East Coast shows in her career. She has done a few for some of the Arena West shows, because, there have been some times when Arena West has headed over to the East Coast quite a few times. Ashley Stanford has gotten a chance to do some shows like in Georgia and South Carolina and North Carolina as well. Actually, I don't think she's competed in South Carolina yet, but I know she's actually, yes, she has. She's done some shows on the East Coast, like in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. She's also competed in New York, Ohio, Alabama. So, we want to see Ashley Stanford do more shows on the East Coast next year, so we hope she can have a full-time series on an East Coast tour next year. Of course, it's a Central Tour, and John Zimmer Jr. has always been on Central Tour every single year he's been competing in Monster Jam. So we want to see him back on the Central Tour yet again this year. Driving Terminal Velocity, he is the reigning Central champion, so of course we got to see him back on a tour who are on the Central Series. And of course, we also got to have Haymaker and Frostbite as well. I really want to see them make their Monster Jam debut. They're really cool trucks, and Brett Falvey is a really good driver, so it would be really cool to see him on the Central Tour next year. And there has been some rumors that Hall Brothers may be leaving Monster Jam very soon. So that'd be a good replacement for them on an arena series. Is to have Send It Motorsports have all 4 trucks on their tour. And I think it'd be just really cool to see Haymaker and Frostbite in Monster Jam, as they're both really cool trucks. And that's pretty much it for the lineup. It's a really good tour lineup. I can obviously definitely see the top 4 are definitely going to be Weston, Brianna, Jamie, and John Zimmer Jr. will be the top 5 on this tour. And I would never also count out Brett Falvey as well. He may be a newcomer and a rookie, but he's really good in the skills competition. He's laid down some pretty good moonwalks and some of the independent shows we've seen him compete at. So I would definitely not count him out. And I could definitely see him finishing maybe 5th place on the tour. Ashley Stanford, I can also see finishing somewhere in the mid-pack. And John Zimmer Sr. as well, he can also have pretty good performances as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if he finished somewhere in the middle. And Kylie Kent, maybe a tough rookie season for her on this stack tour, but hopefully she can maybe bring home a win or 2 here and there. And as for this tour on the schedule, we have we'll kick off the season January 3rd through 4th in Nashville, Tennessee at the Bridgestone Arena. January 10th through 11th, they can compete in Kansas City, Missouri at the T-Mobile Arena. January 23rd to 25th, they'll be at Newark, New Jersey at the Prudential Center. January 30th through February 1st, they'll be in Brooklyn, New York at the Barclays Center. February 6th through 8th, they'll be in Belmont Park, New York at the UBS Arena. February 21st through 22nd, they can be in Little Rock, February 13th through 15th, I almost forgot about that, they'll be in Worcester, Massachusetts at the DCU Center. February 21st through 22nd, they'll be in Little Rock, Arkansas at the Simmons Bank Arena. February 27th through March 1st, they'll be in Rosemont, Illinois at the Allstate Arena. March 6th through 8th, they'll be in Grand Rapids, Michigan at the Van Andel Arena. March 13th through 15th, they'll be in Toledo, Ohio at the Huntington Center. March 21st to 22nd, they'll be in Louisville, Kentucky at the Freedom Hall. March 27th to 28th, they'll be in Lincoln, Nebraska at the Pinnacle Bank Arena. April 4th through 5th, they'll be in Hartford, Connecticut at the XL Center. April 10th through 12th, they'll be in Green Bay, Wisconsin at the Resch Center. April 18th through 19th, they'll be in Albany, New York at the MVP Arena. April 24th to 25th, they'll be in Hampton, Virginia at the Hampton Coliseum. May 2nd through 3rd, they'll be in Evansville, Indiana at the Ford Center. May 9th through 10th, they'll be in Lexington, Kentucky at the Rupp Arena. And then May 15th through 17th, they'll be in South Haven, Mississippi at the Landers Center. So this tour mainly consists of returning stops from the Central Tour. We even also decided to bring in some other stops as well that we've seen for some of the other tours, such as stops like Lincoln and Louisville. Adding them back onto the schedule, that would be really cool as well. And yet again, I want to see stops that were non for points like Evansville and Albany become actual 4-point stops here this year. And I'm also very excited for this year, for this tour as well, if it were to come to reality. Also, we have Kansas City as well back on this Central Tour again after being non for points on Stadium West last year. So I really want to see that some make a return. But we also got we also got Brooklyn as well. That's a really cool arena. I'm happy to see that back on there. But the main thing I'm most excited about this tour is we got some of the bigger arena shows, bigger East Coast arena shows on this tour. Stops such as Nashville, Worcester, Rosemont, Louisville, and South Haven are all back on this tour. These are some of the bigger arena shows, or some of the more wider arena floors where they kind of have the double pod. I guess you can say where they have 2 jumps instead of one big jump in the center. So, this are really, we love those arena shows. Those are some of my favorite East Coast arena shows, and hopefully we can see them back on this tour. I really want to see Louisville back on the Central Tour because I was a bit sad they didn't have it this year for Central Tour, as I really wanted to see John Zimmer Jr. Compete in Louisville last year to have redemption after him getting robbed of the freestyle win in Show 2 from 2023. So I really want to see Louisville back on an actual arena tour, not being non for points stadium event. So we really want to see that back as well. And I really want South Haven to be the finale stop for the tour. South Haven just feels like a good place to do a finale stop for a tour, as that's where we did the finale stop for in 2024 for this tour. So I want to see it make its return as a finale stop. And it was also where John Zimmer Jr. clinched the points series last year. So of course I really want to see that tour back as a finale stop just for that reason. And as that's where we crown the points champion this year, so we want to see him do that again here next year. And we've got our last tour of the International Tour with Charlie Pauken and Gravedigger, Khalil Lamar and Megalodon, Abe Galvin in El Toro Loco, Brandon Arthur and JCB Digatron, Mikey Byers second in The Amazing Spider-Man, Tony Oaks in Iron Man, Chelsea Van Cleve in Thor, and Joe Dennis in Black Panther. Now with this tour, it's a really interesting lineup. I want to see Charlie Pauken make his full-time return back in Gravedigger, and I hope we can see him actually get the points win. I want Khalil Lamar to get some more seat time here in Monster Jam. He had some pretty good sky wheelies, and he had a pretty decent performance when we saw him back last year in November. So we really want to see him on a full-time tour here this year, next year, as we have not seen him compete in quite some time. So I really want to see him make his return. We have Abe Galvin and El Toro Loco. Also, I really want to see him make his return, replacing Peter Nyman. And we want to get Blake Granger off the international tour so that we can focus full-time competing domestically in the States. So I really hope we can see these two rookies come out and do good on an international tour. And then I really want to see Brandon Arthur back behind the wheel of JCB Digatron. He's a really good competitor, can definitely fight for a good second-place spot on this tour and give Charlie Pauken maybe even a run for his money for this tour win. So, we really want to see him back at it. We want to see Mikey Byers Jr. back on a full-time tour. He could definitely maybe get third place on this tour easily. So, we want to see him back at it. We have Tony Oaks in Iron Man. Now, I want to put somebody else in Iron Man, but I had no idea of who to pick. I didn't have any other options of who to put in Iron Man, so I want to put Tony Oaks. He can go back and forth between competing domestically in the States and competing internationally here, and he can drive Iron Man. We have Chelsea Van Cleve in Thor. I want to see Chelsea Van Cleve back on the international tour and do a full-time season in Thor. I think it's a really good fit for her, and I think she'll do pretty good and can maybe even fight for maybe a fourth or fifth place spot on this tour and maybe have a pretty decent season. And we got Joe Dennis in Black Panther. Now, we gotta let Joe cook, as what we've seen. We need to let Joe Dennis cook. We need to let him cook. We need to let him. We need this man in the kitchen ASAP. So we really want to see him get a full-time spot and get himself on a full-time tour internationally. So that would be really cool to see. And yeah, this is the tour lineup. It's a pretty good lineup, and I couldn't wait to see how the points. It's mixed with some veteran competitors as well as some rookies as well. So I think it'd be very interesting to see how it would play out as well. And this would probably give Charlie Pauken a good chance to actually win the tour, and can give him a good shot to actually make his return to Monster Jam World Finals. We really want to see Charlie Pauken back at the Monster Jam World Finals. So hopefully this can be the case for a tour, and we can see him make his return and he can compete at the Monster Jam World Finals. And as for the tour schedule, now most of this tour has already been announced as the season starts next weekend in Singapore. But I can go ahead and read you off what I want to see for the schedule. August 23rd we kick off the tour in Singapore at National Stadium. September 12th through 14th they'll be in Birmingham, United Kingdom at the Utilita Arena, Birmingham. September 19th to 21st, they'll be in Glasgow, United Kingdom at the OVO Hydro. October 4th, they'll be in Melbourne, Australia at Amy Park. October 11th, they'll be in Sydney, Australia at Acker Stadium. October 18th, they'll be in Gold Coast, Australia at CBUS Stadium. December 5th through 7th, they'll be in Santiago, Chile at Movistar Arena. December 13th to 14th, they'll be at La Plata, Argentina at La Plata Stadium. December 27th through 28th is going to be Liwa, Abu Dhabi at the Village Dune. February 7th, they can be in Stockholm, Sweden at the Strawberry Arena. March 13th through 15th will be San Jose, Costa Rica at National Stadium. April 10th through 12th, they can be in Zurich, Zurich. I think it's Switzerland. Yeah, I think it's Switzerland. That's where it's at. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. At Hallen Stadion, April 18th through 19th. They'll be in Munich, Germany at Olympia Hall. I don't know how to pronounce it. April 25th through 26th, they're going to be in Berlin, Germany at Uber Arena. May 2nd through 3rd, they're going to be in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates at the Etihad Arena. And then May 16th through 17th, we'll wrap up the tour in Arnhem, Netherlands at the Gelredome Stadium. Now, with this tour, most of it's already announced. All the stuff that you see from Singapore all the way to Santiago has already been announced. And I have having some secret word that if you maybe have watched my Sunrise Pit Party vlog, it is confirmed they are doing La Plata, Argentina, yet again this year. And most likely, I don't know the exact dates, but I'm predicting like how we saw in 2023. It'll just be on the same weekend as it'll be on the same weekend. It'll be the weekend after. Excuse me. I'm gonna say it will be the weekend after after Santiago. Of course, we want to see Liwa, the Village Dune. It's a really cool venue that they have out there in the desert. It's probably kind of gives that venue out there in the desert kind of gives me vibes of El Paso. So we really want to see that make a return here on this year during the Christmas time. Stockholm, Sweden, I want to see them have a back-to-back years where we visit it instead of every other year, like how we've been seeing it recently. We want to see them make a return there. San Jose, Costa Rica, I really want to see that tour back as well. Well, I really want to see that stop back as well in the international tour, as I'd definitely rather see that than compared to, I'd rather see Monster Jam do a show there compared to Hot Wheels, as Hot Wheels is, the show there in Hot Wheels just was not that good, so I think we're good without Hot Wheels being there, and we can just have Monster Jam return there instead. Then, of course, Zurich, Munich, Berlin, Abu Dhabi. We want to see those stops make a return. And then, of course, the perfect stop for the finale is Arnhem, Netherlands, of course, because Arnhem, it's one of my favorite international stops. So I remember that's one of the first international shows I watched as a kid. And so it's just a perfect place to wrap up the international tour is in Arnhem, Netherlands at that stadium, one of my favorite international stops, and I hope it can be the finale where we'll crown a champion and that winner will go out to World Finals. And of course, with the schedule, of course, not only with that lineup is definitely can be a bit altered and different. And as well for the international series, as well as I do know Bori Musauer has quite a few shows in Black Panther on this tour, international tour. I do know Matt Cody will also have a stop in JCB Digatron in Melbourne. And I also do know that we also have there's some other stuff as well with this international tour. Or that's different. I know Ryan Anderson is competing in Son of a Digger in the Australia Tour. Jamie Sullivan will drive Sparkle Smash in the Australia Tour. Thor will also be campaigned by Cynthia Gauthier in the Australia Tour. El Toro Loco, at least through the first half here, will be driven by MJ Solorio, most likely in Argentina and in Chile. And then Blake Granger will have some shows in El Toro Loco in Australia. And I know Peter Nyman may also drive the truck as well in Singapore and in other places. So, the lineup that we have is not exactly accurate, as there's definitely a lot of changes, and the lineup will definitely be different practically every single show that we see on this international tour. But still, I hope this is what the main lineup will be for next year for all the shows happening in February all the way through May. So, yeah, it'd be a really cool schedule, really cool, and have a big full-time schedule like this for international tour. And, yeah, I hope it happens. I hope we can make this happen next year. Now, as for other stuff that I want to see make a return to Monster Jam next year, first up is Crushable Objects. Because I'd really love to see Crushable Objects not only just be there just for maybe big shows like Atlanta or the World Finals. I also really want to see it happen. I really want to see these objects come back for the first quarter, where maybe we have some freestanding crush cars, and maybe even add a motorhome or a bus on the track as well if we have enough room and space. This is something that it's been kind of missing from the regular stadium shows in Monster Jam that we'd really love to see make a return. Also, speaking of big and special events, I also really want to see the Superstar Challenge make a return next year, as I really want to go to one of those events, as it looks like they're always a blast, and they're always some really good events. So I really want to see the Superstar Challenge come back next year and make a return. Next up is going to be concerned with headers and the engines on these trucks. As I don't know if you guys have seen, but as of recently in some of the more recent shows here, in Monster Jam or throughout quarter 2 or even some late quarter 1 shows. Then Monster Jam has been testing out these brand new headers that we've seen that make the trucks run a bit quieter. Current Monster Jam Feld trucks right now, at least for the Feld trucks, we all know about Independence, but as for Feld trucks, they currently run at 120 decibels or 120 dB as of right now, and they have these new headers that we've been seeing that now run at 88 dB that they've been running. As I do know, we saw Colt Stevens run those headers in Austin and Raleigh, and then we also saw Kristen Anderson run those headers in Athens. So, we hope those headers can go away and we can keep that stuff out of the United States. And they can only be an international exclusive for maybe just Stockholm, Sweden. Hopefully those are just new headers that they're just testing out for Stockholm, Sweden, coming up for future shows in the cities like that. Hopefully it's not be a full-time thing for arenas in the coming years. As I do think the mufflers are loud enough. If you think the mufflers are too loud, just wear headphones. And if you even then think they're still too loud, just with headphones, then you have problems. You need to seek help. If you actually just think these mufflers are loud, the regular standard mufflers are loud just in general. Well, yeah, you need help. You need help. Stop it. Get some help. Go find help. You clearly need help if you think some of these mufflers are too loud. And so instead of solve the solution with the trucks being too loud, the solution is just wear headphones if you think the standard mufflers are too loud. That is the actual solution. You could probably buy them at the event, or you could go buy them at Walmart probably for a cheap price. I do know the Monster Jam stuff that they sell there can be quite expensive, but you could probably find cheaper headphones for less than $10 at Walmart. So or at Target or someplace like that. So if you think it's too loud, just wear headphones. Don't make Monster Jam have to go through the process and make them quieter, as monster trucks are meant to be loud. That's the whole idea behind these trucks, that they're supposed to be loud. That's the way they're supposed to be. If you think the trucks are too loud, just suck it up and deal with it. Basically, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but just suck it up and deal with it. It's the way it's supposed to be, and that's how the super fans like it. So, that's what Monster Jam should do, is just keep the trucks loud. And even maybe I'd also love to see a return of Zoomies as well. Now, Zoomies don't have to run on every truck, but I'd love to see Zoomies return and run on some trucks. Of course, trucks like Gravedigger and Son of a Digger, I want to see Zoomies on. And, I also wouldn't mind seeing Zoomies on Thunder Roarus as well. That'd be pretty cool. And of course, also let the Independents run Zoomies as well. As that'd be really cool to see those make a return in Monster Jam as well. Alright, next thing is kids content. As Monster Jam, I've kind of not been liking the direction they've kind of taken the sport as of recently, within these past recent years, with the kids content. And as they feel like as if they're making Monster Jam more targeted for kids, and they're trying to make it more kid friendly and trying to make it more kiddish and childish, and which is something I'm not a huge fan of. I think they need to make it like how it used to be and make it more feel like it's more for everybody, like how it used to be back in the 2000s and the 2010s. That's what I would really love to see. I mean, no hate to the little kids out there now, but what the older fans grew up with, and with how the way the event was presented to us back in the day. Hey, to us older fans, I think it was just perfect for us. I mean, what I grew up with, I was happy with. Monster Jam back when I grew up with it, back in the late 2000s throughout the 2010s. I loved it just the way it was, and I had fun with it. And even though it wasn't as kid targeted as it is now, I still had fun, and I still enjoyed it, and so did many of the older generations of people. Also enjoyed Monster Jam as well. We don't need this kid targeted stuff. We don't need it like the stuff like the animated adventure series, Crash Course, Truckin' Pals, some of the other things Monster Jam may do to make this event targeted more towards kids. We really don't need that. I think the kids would enjoy it like how we enjoyed it if it was presented to be more towards for everybody, like how it was back in the day. Next up, the filming policy. This is probably the biggest thing I really want to see changed. Now, despite what your thoughts on it are, I do believe the filming policy is very real, and it's and it's had a dramatic effect here on the community, yeah, of Monster Jam. As it feels like we kind of can't post as much stuff anymore, or I mean, like, it's been also hurting us financially, yeah, as well. I mean, like, we have not seen Reagan post a Monster Jam full show in almost almost a year and a half now. It's been nearly 18 months since the last time we seen Reagan post a Monster Jam full show on his YouTube channel. And it must be hard for some of these people like Wayne and Reagan, as it feels like Reagan, especially Monster Truck Lord, while he is claimed to be in retirement right now, it almost feels like he's barely making almost any money off of YouTube right now, just because of the lack of uploads he's had throughout 2025, and from the filming policy and stuff like that. As we know, myself, we just want the glory days of Monster Jam on YouTube to come back. Monster Jam can still keep their live streams as well. I mean, it's most likely that they're already going to make more money and get more views than the YouTubers anyway, just from their live event and their big YouTube channel that they have with over 1 million subscribers. So they're almost already guaranteed likely to get more views and make more money than us, since they have the footage from the event coming out first. So, but we really want to see the filming policy get removed and just allow the creators to upload. I mean, if you let us upload, if you let me and the gang, Monster Jam and Feld, upload our videos, we're not stealing any money from you. You're not losing any money at all from our views that we get. And, we need, and us viewers and us people in the community, we need to upload this stuff so we can have some source of income. Especially me, I definitely need this money a lot right now, because, I'm about to be a senior. Like, as I'm recording this, or as I'm recording this video, I will be a senior, and I'm starting senior year tomorrow. So, I'm at a very critical point in my life right now, and I'm not trying to beg or anything. Sound like I'm trying to beg for money. I'm saying this just for everybody in the community, but we just really want the glory days of us being able to post on YouTube to be back. And, we could, and all of us in the community, we could use the money and the monetization that we can get from uploading these videos. We could use it. We're not trying to, we're not trying to steal your guys' money. We're just trying to help promote the sport. And I genuinely do love all the people in the community's videos. I believe every person just has a unique view and perspective. Every single Monster Jam video that is filmed by a fan, every single one of it is unique. Everybody's unique and special, just based on from the camera quality to the reactions. Everybody, and when it comes to filming Monster Jam shows, like, I mean, I love watching Reagan's videos. I love watching, like, his reactions, and I kind of do miss seeing those videos on YouTube. I miss Monster Truck Lord when he'd have his videos and we get to see Reagan get excited and have these really cool and insane reactions to something cool happening. We can still see that on Instagram. We'd also really love to see it again on YouTube. We definitely do miss that, and we also do miss the high quality camera and videos from guys like Monster Truck Reels and Avengers Racing. And of course, we also miss the speedy uploader, Mac Bulldog Mac, who would always seem to always get the full show content to us very fast. It felt like almost just like minutes. Like, after the show is over, he's already got the full show uploaded on YouTube. And the same also went for Monster Truck Reels as well. He'd also have the full show as well, already posted after, or just after like less than an hour after the show was over. Or they already had their stuff on YouTube. We really do miss that, and just getting that fast Monster Jam content and like that. And we just miss the community members videos as well. Also, we just want the glory days of Monster Jam on YouTube to make a return next year in 2026. Next up is the RII. Now, the RII has gotten slightly better this year, especially with rules after hitting the dumpsters or the containers after you're doing a backflip. And it looks like they are seeming to be sometimes a little less strict on the RII. So I'm hoping they can continue to grow where they get less and less strict on the RII, to where Monster Jam can return to like how it used to be from 2000 through 2017, where the RII was very lenient and not as strict. So, we want to see that. We want to see that happen, and where they're a little less strict, we can let trucks run broken. These drivers and these independent teams and these crew, they don't drive or fly in from hours away from wherever they come from. They can have a slight breakdown on their truck and their run is over. Or they did not go all the way out to the city to whatever city just to do that. They came there to burn it down, and some of the best moments that have happened in Monster Jam, some of the coolest moments can happen when you run with the broken trucks. So you know, I really want to see that make a return. We let more people run with flat tires, or maybe even broken sway bars, or broken 4-link bars, or tie rods, or trucks running in first gear. Here, you know, we really want to see that make a return. And, you know, kind of like you know how we saw Zach Garner and Adam Anderson were able to lay down runs, or at least run with flat tires, and John Zimmer Jr. is able to run in first gears. So you know, we really want to see stuff like that continue happening more. And I just love watching a truck just go out there and just burning it down while running with a broken truck. And we want to see more of that happen next year, just in the regular stadium setting or the regular Monster Jam setting, not just for the World Finals. Next up, I'd love to see more old school trucks make a return next year. Well, I didn't put them in the lineup, but I'd really love to see other trucks, old school trucks, make a return. Now, this is an old screenshot I got, I took when I got this picture for the PowerPoint show. I got this from one of my old videos from last year where I made this point. But I really want to see some older trucks return. Now, I'm not sure about Bakugan or Lucas Oil Crusader. While this would definitely be really cool to see make a return, I highly doubt it will probably happen and at this rate. But other trucks like Northern Nightmare, Soldier Fortune Black Ops, Soldier Fortune, Max D, Blue Thunder, Mohawk Warrior, Backwards Bob, I'd really love to see make a return. Even if Mohawk Warrior comes back, even without the sponsorship, I'd still love it, and I'd still definitely take that. And you know, we really want to see Mohawk Warrior back in Monster Jam and some of these other old school trucks with that don't have the cool 3D bodies like the trucks have now. I would still definitely love to see them make a return. So that way the Feld trucks can have a bit more variety between the 2D and the 3D bodies. Although I'm liking some of the direction they're heading with the 2D bodies, as Bailey Circuit was one of the most 2D trucks we've gotten in years. I mean, that's probably the most 2D-est truck we got since Bro Camino in 2020. So, you know, we're heading in the right direction with trucks like Bailey Circuit with more 2D bodies making a return. So, you know, we want to see trucks like this in old school trucks make their return to Monster Jam. Next up is to let the independents run their own bodies on arena tours next year. Now, when I mainly say this, there has been rumors that next year one of the tours will be a Freestyle Mania tour, kind of like how we saw this year with Freestyle Mania that is currently happening right now as I'm recording this. But you know, the bad thing that I really did not like about Freestyle Mania was the fact that the independents could not run Feld bodies. So I'm hoping that next year, if they do decide to make a Freestyle Mania tour, they can let the independents run their own identities, and Monster Jam can just make a custom bike. I mean, I'd love to see a Velociraptor or a Drastic Attack motorcycle or a Crazy Train bike. That'd be really cool to see. So, you know, I really want to see independents still be allowed to run their actual identities on a Freestyle Mania tour if that does happen next year. As you know, I'd definitely rather see that. I love the independent trucks. I love seeing independents being able to run their own identities, and we want to see more of that next year here, and not have to deal with the independents having to run Feld bodies for whatever tour the Freestyle Mania tour may be on next year. So we hope we can see that as well. And also, speaking of Freestyle Mania Tour, I mean, I've kind of have enjoyed the idea of the Freestyle Mania Tour. I mean, it's definitely interesting, unique concept. But it probably just feels like an arena, a basic arena event still, just with the added best whip competition and making the best trick competition actually scored for points now, and having more FMX riders. I mean, it's a pretty cool and interesting concept. But if I were to change anything about Freestyle Mania, the main things I definitely want to change are: number one, get rid of the best whip competition. I mean, it's really tough to judge, and it's just really kind of basic competition. I mean, there's really no point of it at all. I mean, all the whips, sometimes they almost all look the same, and it's hard to judge. And it's just kind of a useless competition, in my opinion. So I think they should just keep a freestyle, just keep a best trick competition for the Freestyle Mania series with the motorcycle portion. Just keep it best trick competition, and that be it. And I'd also let the independents run their identities as well, and not have them run Feld bodies. And also, one thing I'd also love to make a point about is with the Freestyle Mania series, I'm kind of not a huge fan of the fact that we're doing points tours like the Fall Stadium Series and the Freestyle Mania Tour. I'm not a huge fan that we're having quarter two point series now. I mean, I'm okay with the international having a points tour during quarter two. That's okay in my opinion, but domestically, I don't think we need any points tours domestically during quarter two, because that would mean like having a points tour would mean having practically almost like the same lineup each time, and we don't really want to see that. I kind of like having non for points events during quarter two and just having those be the basis of quarter two, not have to just save all the points series and stuff like that for quarter one, please. And I really hope next year we do not have any sort of points series or anything like that that counts towards a possible automatic invite to World Finals. We don't really need that. I'm still very unsure right now as if the winner of the Freestyle Mania Tour or of the Fall Stadium Series, I'm not sure with these points. I'm unsure whether or not they'll actually be counted towards a points or the points from these series. I'm unsure if that'll lead to the winner getting an automatic invite or it's just a championship you get with no invite. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of doing points series during quarter two, so that's something we want to see removed as well next year. And I think that's gonna be a wrap here for this video. This got a bunch of cool ideas for 2026, and I really do hope we can see this happen. Be sure to spread this video and share this people with as many people as many people as possible. Also, that way we can spread the word, and so we can get this stuff to actually happen next year. Try to spread the word with big people in the community, like maybe Monster Truck Lord or Avengers Racing. Share it to them. Post this video maybe on your Instagram story, and post the link, and try to get as many people as we can's attention on this video, so that way these ideas can become a reality. So I think there's some really cool ideas, and this stuff would make Monster Jam really cool, and we can have a really good season next year. And I really want to see this stuff happen next year. And also, be sure to let me know in the comments down below what you want to see from the 2026 Monster Jam season. Whether there be new ideas getting added, and new ideas or stuff to be brought back, like the crush cars, stuff like that. Let me know, like maybe some lineup or tour predictions and tour schedule predictions, or what new venues you may want to see next year. And also let me know what your favorite part of the video is down in the comments down below. Let me know your favorite tour or lineup. Let me know about that, and let me know what's one thing you really want to see come back in Monster Jam next year. But everybody, thank you all for watching. And I can't wait for 2026 Monster Jam season. We're less than probably a month away from getting the announcement about the season and schedule for next year. So we cannot wait for the schedule announcement for next year. It's gonna be really fun. I'm very excited, and I hope we can see many of my stuff here that I predicted hopefully come true. But yeah, enough of me yapping and rambling on. Thank you all for watching. Everybody, be sure to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you guys be notified for more Monster Jam content comes your way. And have a God bless day, everybody. And we'll see you all soon for some more videos. Peace out, everybody.